Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm working on the GTR again today. Today I'm actually going to be getting into the fuel system. Because this car has actually been sitting for a couple of years and really not been driven much, I'm actually going to go through the whole fuel system. So on top for today, I'm going to be removing the fuel injectors so I can send them down. I'm actually going to be sending them to Poor People Racing down in Florida to get them to clean them, balance them, put on new seals and all that good stuff. I'm going to be pulling the fuel tank today as well, replacing all of the old fuel lines, vent lines and all the other stuff that goes along the top of the tank, plus the lines that go from the tank to the hard lines. Let's get into it. Alright, so before we get started on this thing, there's a couple things you need to do. First is you're going to start the car and let it run, because I've actually already done this because the car's been sitting here for a little while. You're going to start the car, let it run, and then what you're going to do is in here you're going to come down and pull the fuel pump fuse, which is that one. It's already removed now. It's the sixth one on the top row. It's the sixth one from the right. And then what that'll do is the car will actually sputter and die. You start it a couple of times and it'll sputter and die. That gets most of the fuel pressure out of the fuel rail. That way when you start to pull the injectors, it won't be spraying everywhere. Second thing you're going to do is actually remove the negative terminal of the battery, which I'm going to do now, and then you can start working. Alright, so the next step here is going to be to remove the hose leading to the PCV valve. Okay. That looks pretty old and crusty. Probably need a new PCV valve too. Alright, let's pull this out of the way. Alright, set that to the side. Alright, so to disconnect this connector on the TPS sensor, you're going to need to get yourself one of these little pick tools. And if you've never removed one of these metal clips, be really careful because they slide right off, and if you drop one you'll probably never find it. So just be careful when you're doing that. Right. This is the little, I don't know if that'll focus, hopefully it'll focus, you can see the back of it. But this is that little metal clip. When you pull this out, be really careful. Make sure you have your fingers on it when you pull it out. Then you should be able to pop this right off and it disconnects. And pull it up out of the way. I disconnected this other clip already for the sensor. And then that should free up some more space for the fuel rail. Next thing we're going to do is remove these 5mm, there's 3 of them, 5mm Allen keys. That's what holds the electronics, or that's what holds the wiring harness for the injectors. So I'm going to pull these 3 off. Make sure you put this clip somewhere safe so you don't lose it. There's also on these, there's a couple of washers on these. Make sure you don't lose those either. Yeah, got them all. So that's free now. You can see you pull it up on it. Alright, so the next thing is there's 2 bolts here. See 1 bolt there and 1 bolt here that are holding the fuel rail down. Those look like a 12, so I'm going to grab a 12. That was a good guess, they are 12. Alright, so you can break those free now. Alright, you can see now that the fuel rail is free, and you can basically just pull it straight away. And that some of these injectors have been leaking already. So we're going to just pull this back a little bit. Disconnect this clip. I love these old clips, man. Golly. Man, some of those things are freaking Number 6 was leaking pretty good. Number 5 is dry. Number 4 is leaking. Number 3 is dry. 2 is slightly leaking, and 1 is dry. So we had at least 2 leaking pretty good, and 1 was leaking a little bit. Yeah, pretty crazy. All right, so these things are actually only held in by the O-rings, so you can just wiggle it nice and easy and it should pop out. And then you can take these also have retaining clips, just like the TPS sensor. You have to be really careful taking them off. Make sure you have some rags and paper towels nearby, because this will leak fuel. So I'll stuff a little bit of this down in here as we pull this out. Yep, there we go. There's one. Stuff that rag down here now. This is what it looks like. So you'll be able to take these out one by one, and there's a small clip, so you need your pick tool again. So you need your pick tool, and you have to pull just really gently on this, because it'll go flying away. So hold on to it with your fingers like this. There's that clip, and then now the injector comes free like that, and then you're good. You can take all of them out. All right, so you do the other 5 exactly the same way. All right, I got everything out. Injectors, this is number 6, this is number 1, and about half of them, the O-ring was still stuck in the plenum. So make sure if you pull out an injector and it looks like this, and it's missing this little piece right here, go back in and pull the O-ring out of the plenum. Make sure you don't try to put 2 O-rings in there. These are the little retainer clips I was talking about that hold the injector, that hold the wiring onto the injector right here. Don't lose those. And then this is the rest of the hardware that we pulled off as well. Make sure you don't lose any of this stuff. Cool? Alright, so now that the injectors are pulled, I'm going to actually go get the fuel tank pulled down as well. I think what I'm going to do actually right now is I'm not going to change the fuel lines in the engine compartment yet. I also have a fuel filter and new lines to go in the engine compartment. But I'm actually going to be pulling the intake plenum to redo all the coolant lines and all the other stuff underneath of there. And because the fuel lines are underneath the intake plenum, that should make it easier for me to actually get in there and change the fuel lines at that time. I might just go ahead and wait until I get in there to do that. That's probably what I'll do, but I am going to pull the fuel tank now, so I'll show you how to do that here. It doesn't look too difficult. I mean, I've never done this before. As a matter of fact, I never did the injectors before either, but that wasn't too bad either.